Let us talk about the fourth item, which is a flexible pivot and the master measures. This is the flexible uh, the example of flexible measure pivot in the sense that you can break it down by any any order you want or any arrangement you want. So for example, the first thing is it's just the account, revenue, cost, net, and then margin, right? So the second one, you can break it down. So the same values here, but you break it down by market. So each account will be broken down into different lines. The second one is just for each market, you want to compute all the measure for the market. So you look at the measure and then in one single market and you look at all the measures. So the numbers will be the same, but it's just like the flexible arrangement in order for you to examine the result. So this one is more like you compare like for like the same measure, so the same revenue and the same cost. But this one is more like if you want to understand how Indonesia is doing in terms of revenues and in the margin, and then you can look into this number. Okay. Now the the number in here is just like the default pivot table. So this is the default one. So if you are in Excel and then you use the pivot table, then this is the one you are looking for. So it just the row is by market and the column is by measures and then by year, and then the value will be the adjusted value. In this case, I want to adjust the value in order to make it like in thousand, because otherwise we have to read a lot of numbers. So these two actually we don't use, but we want to um, put it here because we want to compute, we want to compare like for like the numbers in the flexible pivot and then the default one. So the default one is very easy one, but then if you want uh, to combine the measure together, so for example, in this case, you have cost revenue, which is okay, net, which is okay, but when we want to combine all of them like net and margin all together in the same view, you cannot do this. So eventually you have to end up with like writing uh, um, drawing two tables and then put them side by side. Okay, so this one is the different story. You can so this from this to this, you can actually just switch the name in the column in here. So let me show you. For example, if I want to switch the name from here, it will show me the breakdown like this. So this is the same breakdown. But then we switch this one, the name in here, it will give us break, the parametric view of the by year of each clinic. So this is why mm, the pivot is called a flexible, because it can from one pivot table you can derive many uh, many views you want. But then there's a catch. This one is sortable, so you can sort and then you see big items, small item, but this one is not. So it will be, it can be clicked, meaning that you can click on one item to highlight the chart to change the chart content, but then it cannot be sorted like this one. You can read the numbers and you can export the number, but you cannot sort. Okay, so that's the difference between the flexible pivots and then the sortable pivots. Now, in terms of the making, you can see here whenever um, you click on the flexible pivot, you can see they will use two things, two tables. The first thing is the original data. So if you want the breakdown by market or by clinic, you have to refer to this original table because you have the breakdown in here. But then when you want to refer to like revenue, cost, net, and margin in here, you have to refer to this table. Actually, this is the you can make this table in Excel, and then you can import this table. But I show you one trick, which is like a quick way to produce a table in here. So this is the way DAX used to make a table, and I'll show you the table in here. So this is the table. Okay, so this so it will give you the first row in here with number one, with sorting order number one, and then short for revenue, cost, and then here. So this one is for display, but so this one for computing, because if you want to compare like this is revenue, this is cost, and then this name is very long. This one is for displaying only, but this one is for computing later if you refer to. Okay, so that's the first element in order to make mm, the flexible pivot. Okay, so you need the account from this table C1, and then you need the breakdown from this B1. Okay, so, and then the second element is this thing, the master formula. So the master formula is just the way, just define the way you compute things in here, and then you return the numbers in this table. Okay, so for example, if I don't return this one, I just return um, I just want to return 0. Okay, so I multiply everybody with 0 like this. So you can see here the whole thing is 0 in here, 0 in here, and 0 in here. So this is the master formula. It control all the views or all the flexible pivot. Okay, let me put it back to the original result, and then you can see. There you go. So you have back the number. And then this formula is very big, and then it will compute all the measures for all the account in here. So you can see here we have four accounts, right? Revenue, which is revs for short, cost here, and then cost, and then net, and then here, and then margin in here. So you for the revenue, we just select all the item with which is mapped to revenue, and then we sum the amount together, and then you divide by 1000. So this one, the divide here, you can, if you don't want to divide, you just change this one to 1, and then divide to 1 is like just the original value. Okay, so you can see here, actually you see very long numbers in here, except for the percentage, right? The margin is the one with percentage, and then you don't we have the short one, but the rest is very long. So normally people will divide this one by 1000, which is 1e3 1000, and then you have this number, which is nicely done in here. Okay, so mm in short, you have to remember the data. Of course, you have to use, but you have to remember two things. The first thing is the chart of accounts, or the table of all the measure or the account you want to compute. And the second one is the master formula, which is like to define how you compute each amount, revenue, cost, and other thing. Okay, and then after that, you can just build uh, the the pivot table based on those elements, and then you can just switch the element around in order to have the flexible pivots.